Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Gregory Browning, the CEO of SinglePoint Global, a provider of IT infrastructure, cloud-based voice, apps, data, cabling, and consulting services. Welcome to the show, Gregory.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Gregory, you grew your company's revenue from $2.2 million in 2014 to $7.2 million in 2017, a 224% increase, and in 2018, you hit around $10.9 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah, so we started the company 13 years ago, really focusing on IT infrastructure, and noticing that around the Northern Virginia market, there was a gap there, and we found a lot of customers were needing a strong and valued MSP to support a lot of their needs. And the biggest feedback from that is that we listened to them and engaged into issues that they had within their infrastructure and addressing those issues, and then listening to what they wanted more of. And I believe by expanding our business from just IT support to circuits and voice over IP and data center and managed services and starting to add those products slowly over the years, really gave us the ability to do it right, kept up with the ability to address the client's needs as they grew, and allowed us to grow our revenue in different areas that wasn't our original focus, as well as provide a level of customer service that we felt was doing more and providing more than a typical MSP around here, with making sure that their voice is always heard. You can ask any of my guys around here that I will always focus on not chasing revenue, which means I will sometimes go to a fault as far as we can to support our customers and do the right thing whenever possible.
Right. Now, you said before you identified a gap in the Northern Virginia area. Was it a physical gap, meaning that there weren't any IT management companies in the area, that sort of gap, or was it more of a service gap and an offering gap?
More of a service gap for finding MSPs that did good work. It was amazing because I obviously didn't, I'm from a tech background. I'm not a salesperson in any way, shape, or form, but talking with other IT people and just businesses in the industry, whether it be at a happy hour or anything, it's amazing how much people were looking for strong IT support, knowledgeable staff, and people to be able to resolve issues that either weren't resolved or took too long or wasn't the right solution first. So that's what really drove me to start pushing into that career after I had left DuPont Fabrics Technology.
All right, got it. Now, those sort of things that you mentioned seems pretty basic though, right? In terms of providing good customer support and timely resolution. Isn't that the norm for the most part? I mean, you perform critical systems for a business, right? They need these sort of things.
You'd be surprised how often it's not the norm though, and why that's helped our success. It's easy to do some IT work and walk away and go to the next client. I mean, that's what anybody can do, really. But doesn't mean it's always done right. If you're coming back consistently for the same issues and not looking ahead, focusing on reoccurring issues, addressing what the client's doing in the future, and how they're going to grow their business, and taking all those into consideration with how you grow your business, you're just going to be like everyone else. And I feel those are really important and key factors that have helped our growth, by not just being, oh, they came and they fixed my computer and left. By meeting with them consistently, getting feedback, addressing the feedback at the best positive way. Maybe you don't do everything that they want today, but you recommend strong partners to help you grow. All of those areas are very key in becoming a strong and a solid MSP for your customers.
Right. Now, you probably touched on a number of these already, but maybe we can just go through them again and maybe go a little bit deeper. You grew your business pretty fast, almost fivefold, from 2.2 million in 2014 to around 10.9 million in 2018. What were the three biggest drivers behind that growth?
I would say just adding the products is one. The growing from just IT support to all additional divisions we have is one of the biggest ways we grew. It allowed us to sell to our existing client base when we came out with a new product, but it also allowed us to be a player on the table for customers who were looking for more than just IT support. So I think having a not too large of a product base, but enough that makes sense within your market are super important. Another driver of growth for us was literally a lot of our business came. I don't think I hired a sales guy for till maybe 2016. All the years before that, since 2007, we grew on referrals and me being the sales guy. And so we were making leaps and strides before we even started doing any marketing or lead generation or working with a sales team. And I think that speaks to a lot of how we were addressing our customers and listening to them and building out a solid product base that they were doing a lot of the selling for us. And if you can't call 75% of your customers and have them want to do a referral for you, then you probably have something still that you need to address either in the customer service side, or there are things that you probably need a little better process on to make better for them to be able to want to do that. And we strive in all those areas to make sure that any customer on our Rolodex would talk and say great things about us. And because they meet a lot of people in themselves as they grow. I've had a lot of customers grow not just as fast, if not faster than I have. And they meet a lot of people along the way. And if you can't have them talk about you and grow organically through that, then I still feel that you can have as many salespeople as you want. You're probably not going to keep the customers that you've gotten over the years.
Right, exactly. Is there a third driver?
I'd say just having a solid team. We've done, coming from a tech background, I was able to hire really smart guys in IT. They grew throughout the years, took a chance. I mean, most MSPs, especially small ones growing out, they don't pay as well as big conglomerate companies or have all the same plans and benefits that a small company has. But I think they joined because they liked what we were doing or what we were trying to strive for. They liked the people that I was hiring because they felt like they could relate to them. And I feel like having a knowledgeable staff that can play well together, considering they're working half their lives together throughout the company before they go home, is important. And trying to grow that culture is super important in an MSP service. And I say that because your staff are the people that are talking to your customers all the time, right? And if your customers don't like them, they're not going to like you as much either, especially when in our role, we're meeting with them and all their employees all the time. And if the employees start having conversations with their managers that we're not doing our job, then of course it changes the relationship. So if you don't have a solid backing of employees that can feel your passion to do the right thing for your client as often as possible within reasonable expectations, then you're not going to have that much of growth. I mean, your people help portray how you are in your company, and they all have to be working in the customer service role, whether they're a customer service representative or not.
let's go a little bit deeper into these three drivers that you shared. So first driver, adding new products and services. How did you get that idea to begin with? Is it a strategic decision that you made early on, or were your clients just asking for it and you realized that here's a gap that you could fill?
Really, it was clients asking for more, listening to their frustrations, whether it be their internet service provider and it's always going out, or they call some big company and they don't know them from the million others that they're talking to. You'd be surprised how many people will just want to be heard and talked to. And when they get automated prompts or forced to use portals or really no feedback, they feel like nobody cares or nobody listens to what they're going through. So that's one of the reasons why we brought in doing internet circuits and services, MPLS, all the type of circuits you can do, was because we answer. We know what's going on with their infrastructure, and if we don't, and we do all the work for them to find out those answers. And when they call for an update, they can actually call and talk to people that will hear them versus either waiting in a long queue or getting some other representative that's asking for a ticket number that know what they called before. So that just, again, strives to customer service, and it's helped us score a lot of big accounts because it doesn't matter the company size. A lot of them we found still feel the same frustrations, small or big, when it came to circuits. And really just having somebody to talk to that understands technology, that's giving them reasons why things are where they are right now, pushing for redundancy and offering alternatives that are truly redundant versus somebody saying they are, providing it with technical knowledge behind it, really goes a long way with many customers.
Right.
So that is just one example of probably almost every product line we have. I'll say that about our voice over IP systems. There was a lot of resellers back then, and when I started, and the competitors would always have 3 to 5 year contracts with evergreens that renewed for the same amount. And people would feel trapped when they get bad service or they didn't give notice in time.
Yep.
And the service wasn't as good because they either didn't know the technology well enough, the vendors that were deploying it, or they just didn't care, or were just going for scale. And so we opened up a voice over IP division within SPG. We wanted to be more informative of what's going on because a lot of customers, especially retail customers, rely on their phones for their business.
Yep.
So if those go down, their livelihood's down, and not only are they wasting the money that they're paying for their employees, but they're losing incoming money that is their life. So we wanted to know more instead of just calling somebody else each time their phones went down. So we started building out that infrastructure, testing clients what they thought about it, and being able to provide a higher level of service. By using the internet circuits, we could quality of service the voice side to give people a better experience. Right. So, and with the IT support side, already having the customer service and people that know who they are. Sorry for that.
Oh, no worries. Might be a customer calling.
Yeah. Well, I got staff for that, so hopefully they're doing their job.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I definitely know they are. But to that point, that is just another reason why we scaled our products, because our customers wanted more out of the vendors that they were using. It led to kind of a name change that we had, because we used to go by Nuco IT Corporation. And our vision then was to work with new companies and grow with them. So we used the word Nuco and just added IT at the end of it. We wanted to grow when they grew. That's what I started the company with when I went out full time with it. And then we decided that we were getting so many customers that weren't Nucos. They were big customers. They were much bigger than us and trusting in us to do their work. So we were like, well, we really need to, we've added all these products, right? And we're trying to figure out what's the next name that we should do. And what we found was we were becoming their single point of contact for all of their different needs within IT. And by providing redundant solutions with multiple different carriers, by providing extra levels of support, by doing data center and using DR between two different companies, and just going through all the different aspects of IT and looking out how we can bring that in-house, give them a familiar name, face, number, email address to get information for, no matter how many offices they had across the nation. So they weren't knowing what internet circuit they had in Washington State or what phone provider they were using in Texas. By us offering all these different products, they now had one contact that they could use, one support contact, one call center that knew right away everything they had, no matter where they were calling from.
Right.
And typically with the monitoring, we knew before they even had a problem.
Right. Now, where do you draw the line as to you won't offer those services?
I really think that depends. So we, like most companies, as you grow, we'll start putting in floors, right? We'll grandfather our existing clients that we have, and then start putting in new floors for the sales team of saying, well, let's try and strive our growth with bigger companies. So we're going to say, don't go after the small ones anymore. We want to make sure we can still offer our same level of service, but have it a little more targeted. So I'd say that is one of the changes we've made over the years as we grew, is focusing on the market that we really wanted, which is in this higher small business, but not large medium business. I'd say anywhere between 50 and 500 employees.
Right. But in terms of the services you offer, I mean, your clients are always asking for more, I imagine, right? Because everything's hooked up to their network. So where do you draw the line and say, yeah, we're not going to add that service? It's getting a bit beyond our core competencies.
Really, if it depends on how well we're running. If we feel that we've gotten things down and our guys are feeling like, hey, we can take on more, we start looking at that and see, is there something more our clients need? I mean, that's what we've done since the very beginning. We're not rushing to do products right away just because one client asks for it. It's really, can we do it, and can we do it right? Do we need to partner with someone instead? Or is this even an area we want to be in? And I think a good example of that is, we're not a software development company. We will not develop software. But we do a lot of other things in IT. We find at software development companies are best when that's all they do. They work in teams. They know how to produce good work, and that's something that requires a lot of effort and focus. That's not alike the other services that we do. That doesn't mean we won't develop our own websites for our own uses, portals, etc., to collaborate and combine our services. That just means we're not going to go out and build software for others. But that's an example of one division that in IT that doesn't really fit well with what our focus is on the core infrastructure.
Got it. So the second driver you talked about was providing, initially it was a core level of service that made it really easy for customers to refer you. I mean, they're thrilled to refer you. And then in 2016, you brought on board a sales team, and I assume you also started doing some marketing as well to help generate some leads for them. What did you see happening in 2015 or 16 that said it was time to hire a salesperson?
Really, we just wanted to grow. I mean, we felt like we could take on more clients than just the referrals or me going out and doing the work could bring in. We were obviously at a certain level where I needed to focus on other divisions of the business besides sales. And we felt that with those two aspects in mind, it was time. You never want to be having, or you never want to have guys that are just sitting around waiting for the next customer to come in before they do work. And so we do have onboarding teams that onboard new customers, and we love keeping them busy. And when we found that the referrals and me doing it myself was not enough anymore, we said, okay, we really need to bring in somebody who knows how to sell IT sales. And We had some ups and downs in the beginning, but we then brought on my VP of sales, who is knocked it out of the park for the last 2 years. He joined us at the end of 2016 and has been with us through 2017, 2018. His name is Robert Lanier, and he's been really kicking butt and listening to the clients. And from his background, he used to sell circuits, but now he's learned to sell so much more.
Right. All right. Fantastic. For driver number 3, you talked about having a solid team, being able to hire people, really smart people, especially when you were a smaller business and you couldn't, practically speaking, pay as well and give as good of benefits as the larger companies. How's that now today? Are you finding it a lot easier to bring on board the people you need, or is it still quite tough given the current robust economy we have?
I feel it's definitely a little tougher than it was a few years ago. This market in Northern Virginia is growing very fast. There's a lot of new businesses. There's a lot of new data centers coming up in the area. And it's, even though there's a lot of people coming to Northern Virginia, we also have some, other businesses that can drive up salaries beyond, that make it difficult for smaller businesses to be able to compete with. You figure we got the Booz Allens, the Lockheed Martins, all the big government contractors in the area who feed the government and can offer much more to their employees than smaller IT companies. So what really we have to focus on when competing against them for job markets is culture. Is like, do you really want to sit in a facility off-site where you get to meet or as a contractor for the government and go that route? Or would you rather come to a smaller business or on our side and collaborate with your peers, be able to grow outside and try different things versus being stuck in a specific contract doing a specific thing? Would you like to have more opportunities to work with different networks so you're not doing the same thing every day? Within an MSP, we get to, every new customer is a new challenge. So really what we found is if you really like IT and you like trying to do a lot of solution analysis and providing what you feel is going to be the best for the client, then we're definitely the place for you. There's always something new when a new client comes on board because not everyone did everything the same. So right. We get to enjoy that it's never the same thing. You're never just showing up to work, doing the same thing and going home.
Right.
With a small dynamic MSP with multiple different clients, it's always a new issue. And I know I couldn't do one of those type of jobs, and I respect everyone who can, who literally can show up and do the same thing every day and go home and be completely content with it.
Yeah.
With my IT background, I love a challenge. I love change, and I love keeping up with technology to the best of our abilities.
Right. Switching gears a little bit and looking a bit further, a bit ahead. What are your 2019 plans that you can share with us? What sales target are you looking to achieve this year compared to last year where you did 10.9 million?
We have two major focuses this year. We're putting together and finalizing plans to really blow up a market that we touched on at the end of last year. We expanded into Austin, and we've been there really for over 3 years, but we didn't have an office down there, or staff. We were literally just flying people in, handling disaster recovery and infrastructure in a data center down there. And as we started getting a couple clients down there, we realized, okay, let's see what happens. So this year we're really going to be focusing on expanding in that market and seeing what that brings us, which I think is a good challenge. I know a lot of people go through a lot of risk and analysis to see should they expand into a new market or not. You've heard the scary stories of when they did, they failed, or they lost focus on their existing market where they were doing so good in. when they tried to scale to a new market. So I think we're up for that challenge. I think we're ready. We've got a great team up here, and they're scaling and able to handle already multiple different states as far as where customers reside. So we feel like just by focusing on a market, we're still kind of doing the same thing we do well. We're just going to target one area instead of just having the customers tell us where they have offices and expanding into those. So that's one good thing for us that we're trying to do this year. As well as we have a higher revenue target. I mean, we try and push the sales team a little more each year. And we're hoping we can grow another 3 to 4 million this year. It's a tough goal to do when you're I think we're 40 employees full. So it's a challenge, and we like it, and we're going to try and push hard for it.
Now, in Austin, when you say expanding into Austin, so you're going to open an office, you're going to hire people who will be based in Austin permanently. Is that the idea?
Yeah, we have an office. We opened up an office towards the end of Q4 last year. It's there today. It's small. I mean, it's really out of the WeWork facility, if you call that. It's your own office. It's really not. I mean, we're basically subletting out of a WeWork facility, and we do have a team down there. We've moved 2 employees down there, and we have probably about today 5 contractors working full time down there.
Okay.
And we're hoping that doubles or triples this year if we're lucky.
Right. And are you going to have a salesperson down here, a business development person down here, growing the market?
Not yet. I think we have enough going on down there that we're going to try the organic approach first. I mean, while we are diving in, we're not going to spend a lot of money pushing in a lot of employees to try and see what happens. I think we are happy with the slow growth we're doing there already. And the accounts that we do have down there are growing and expanding and adding more products and services. And I feel like that's the good way for us as an IT company to test it out, is to really not dive head in with everything and throw everything at it and see if it makes it or breaks it. We like kind of slowly moving in, doing right, and guiding it, guiding the customers and trust that even though we're based out of Ashburn, we can do and excel your expectations in this new market that we're expanding into.
Right. And Austin has a pretty strong tech focus, right? So I imagine the referrals will start rolling in here as well, perhaps a bit more quickly than in other markets.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah. Now, you also mentioned that you have a revenue target. You wanted to add another 3 to 4 million this year. So that'll be roughly a 30 to 40% growth for this year. What do you need to do to make that happen?
I'd really say drive-in leads. I mean, sales leads are important at this type of growth now. Growing organically is just too slow. It was great in the beginning, and but now to kind of hit these bigger numbers, you really need to get the leads in and have your marketing and sales campaigns working as best as they can. The one thing that probably any IT guy will tell you is they are not sales and marketing and good at that. So, and they rely on specialized people to do that. So we luckily hired a good VP who's hiring strong sales guys and girls to work for that growth. And by using outside marketing firms, we found have been pretty successful in generating leads for us. That's all they do, right? That goes back to where I say software development companies should be software companies. That's what they do well. And so when we look for a lead generation company, we want to make sure that's all they do and that they do it really, really well. And so far, it's been working out well for us. We started a new one at the beginning of this year, and they're already paying for themselves probably 3 or 4 times over. So I definitely say you have to try a few before you find a golden egg, and keep looking. We're probably going to try and open up a few more doors with a couple more companies sometime this year and see if we can have the same success.
Right. So from a marketing perspective and perhaps even from a sales perspective, what do you see as the biggest obstacle, biggest challenge that your team needs to overcome to hit your targets?
I really think it's just bringing in the leads. I mean, we do a really good job at closing almost every deal that comes to our door. I can tell you that we don't lose very much. It's not to say that we don't lose. We definitely do. But I believe with the way we put our package together, the way we speak, and the way our clients speak about us when we give referrals, it really drives it home to the success of SBG. So I think our only and biggest challenge that would keep us from making that goal is not reaching enough people. And that's why we're really focusing on getting our name out there, working with new lead teams, and figuring out what are more ways we can expand our brand.
Right. Speaking about ways of expanding your brand, I fired up my tools, my online marketing tools before we started our conversation. And I took a look at your pay-per-click presence and your SEO presence. And by the tools I have, not really seeing much of a presence on either front. What's your thinking behind pay-per-click and SEO?
Typically, we have not used the website as much or those ads to gain our growth. That's not saying that they don't work. We just haven't really vested too much into that side of the business because we found dialing for dollars, if you will, or reaching out to clients and speaking to them has been more successful than using LinkedIn or Facebook ads or those type of things to drive success. Majority of all of our leads, when we tried that in the past, never came, or all came from when we made phone calls. It wasn't from our website. It wasn't from ads and banners and LinkedIn shares or anything like that. So we're really focusing on lead generation as far as them are counting on these outsourced marketing companies to send the emails, make the phone calls, reach out to people for us to really get that name out there.
Right. So for the companies that you've hired to help you with their lead gen, what's the offer that they're making to businesses to get them to say, yeah, I'd like to learn more about this?
I would love to be able to answer that, but I put forth all of that responsibility onto my VP of sales, and sure, he did a really good job, and he continues to. Again, it's not to say that we didn't have a few bad eggs in the beginning, but now we've gotten a couple companies that are working well for us on that front, and we're always looking to see who we're going to use next when budget becomes available. Right.
Got it. 3 last questions for you, especially now that you're coming to Austin, or you're looking to expand your presence in Austin. Say you were to put a billboard up here for SinglePoint Global. What would be your billboard message?
I'd say that I'd probably go back to really focus on our vision and simplifying customers' networks. We want to give them an easier way to run their IT. So it would be definitely focused on showing how IT can be easy. What the exact slogan would be, I probably couldn't tell you that right off the top of my head, but I would say it would be to definitely focus on simplifying and giving an easier way to run IT.
Right. A simpler, easier way to run IT. That might be it right there. So, all right, good. And 2 last questions for you. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to reach your team?
So we really, it's amazing. And when we look at our client base, it is so dynamic. There's no one market vertical that we've been focusing. We seem to have been doing really well just having our sales guys open up the phone book, if you will, and as an easy way of saying it, to talk to anyone. The nice thing about our products is they do really work for almost any market. If you were to say which ones we scale best in and what we've gained the most traction from, it would probably be into e-discovery, technical firms, surprisingly moving and storage firms, and anyone that has a large amount of offices, no matter what vertical you're in, to simplify their vendor management by having all of their services really generated on a single invoice, single bill. It really makes an IT director's day when they're signing one bill versus a stack of 100 when they got 100 offices across the nation. So that's really our focus, is to find those places that have a lot of locations, a lot of different vendors, simplify that aspect, and deliver a strong customer service and IT service that meets their needs.
Right. And the best way for those companies to contact you and your team?
I'd say reach out to our sales team. You can email sales@singlepointglobal.com or call our main number at 888-231-9317.
All right. Gregory, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Malcolm, I appreciate you having me. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Yeah, and next time you're in Austin, look me up. We'll grab some barbecue or something.
Definitely. It should be sometime next month.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Gregory Browning, the CEO of SinglePoint Global, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.